It's almost like a religion of thought.
Leave shadows on the clouds.
Look to the heavens, lines in the sky that captivate conspiracy theorists. Chemtrails, followers convinced something evil and secret is going on.
See, and look it. It's got that pattern.
They believe the government or some shadow organization deliberately sprays chemicals to control our minds or to alter the weather.
Okay, I can hear you now. Why are we wasting time on this? Social media has become fertilizer for this conspiracy. Recent surveys indicate 1 in 5 Americans believe in this theory. Now, science is just starting to confront it. So, what are the facts? Let's verify with our experts.
Dr. Jeffrey Forrest, Chair of Aviation and Aerospace Science at Metro State in Denver. Dr. Ken Caldeira, atmospheric scientist and professor at Stanford. These are not government agents. They are scientists. That's verified. But first, Chris Zadnick of Denver. He's a believer.
So I could see a line in the sky.
Yes,
right
2
up
of
here
them,
right
yes.
now. So what do you think is going on up there right now?
They do tend to put them in front of the sun, which makes sense if they're trying to block sunlight.
What would you say is your strongest piece of evidence proving that chemtrails are real?
I think, I honestly, it might seem a little bit crazy that I literally have almost 400 videos.
1, 2, 3. X means death.
What do you think is going on up there?
Well, what they say is that this is sort of a desperate measure to counteract global warming.
Zadnick is quick to say he doesn't trust the government. Can you blame the guy? After all, our government doesn't really have the greatest track record when it comes to telling the truth. Agent Orange, the Tuskegee syphilis study, the human plutonium injection experiments. I can go on and on. That's the government. But what about science? Way back, this is a tight fit.
Okay, pilots and scientists are uncomfortable talking about chemtrails.
What is that white line in the sky behind a plane?
Well, the white line behind a jet is a natural process that goes on with the relationship between the aerodynamics of the aircraft and the atmosphere.
They won't even say that word. Scientifically, they're called condensation trails. Contrails for short.
So what you're really doing is you're sort of artificially generating a cloud.
It's like a long white cloud. That's essentially what it is.
That's right.
As jet fuel burns, it produces mostly water vapor. Picture my mouth like a jet engine. I know that sounds weird, but as I exhale, my breath contains a lot of water, so we'll see something like a cloud. Sounds simple, right? Let's get scientific.
Jet fuel is mostly kerosene, a hydrocarbon. When planes burn jet fuel, they produce exhaust. That exhaust is mostly hot water vapor. That also contains carbon dioxide, trace amounts of sulfur, nitrogen, microscopic metal particles, and carbon. The water vapor molecules latch onto the particles like carbon, allowing the water in its gas form to collect into floating bits of liquid, or, because it's so cold, tiny ice crystals. That's condensation, when water vapor becomes a liquid or ice. And so you get a cloud, especially when the humidity and air temperature are just right. The higher level of humidity in the sky, the longer the water remains condensed. When humidity is really high, the trails look like a long cloud, which is why contrails appear in the sky for a while. Winds can make them expand.
That is also, I think, part of the fear factor that some people hook themselves into because they see a contrail being formed and then hours later it's still there and sometimes it's growing.
So what we see up there is not the government intentionally putting chemicals into the sky for geoengineering.
No.
I don't know why people, they have a scientific or technical question, and instead of going to the scientists, they'll find some crazy website and believe what the crazy website says.
Perhaps the most convincing and highly cited scientific evidence comes to us from this study conducted by atmospheric scientist Dr. Caldeira. Out of 77 top atmospheric scientists across the globe, 98.7% of them categorically rejected the existence of a secret spraying program. That one holdout was a guy in Alaska.
He didn't think, oh, that means there must be a secret government spraying program. He's saying, oh, look, once I got a sample and there was stuff in it that I couldn't explain.
There's no accepted scientific evidence whatsoever that proves a covert program is real.
I really but desperately want it to not be true.
Based on our highly credible experts and scientific approach to chemtrails, we can verify the chemtrail conspiracy is false.